Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about the tragic case of Grace Millane. Grace was a 22-year-old British girl. She had just finished college at University of Lincoln with a degree in advertising and marketing. Before she started real life, though, Grace wanted to see the world, so she did. Grace and her friends spent 6 weeks in South America, Peru, actually, then the Patagonia Island region, stopping in Bolivia. Then she went solo to New Zealand. She explored the North Island before staying at a hostel in Auckland on November 30th, 2018. On the night of December 1st, 2018, Grace met 26-year-old Jesse on a dating app called Tinder. They arranged to meet up for a date that evening. Auckland has CCTV cameras everywhere, so we see Grace leave the hostel at 5:37 and heads to this place called Sky City, just around the corner. Sky City is a casino with a few bars and theaters and a tower, kind of like a Vegas hotel. We see Grace waiting in like a diner area, checking her phone, then her Tinder date, Jesse, comes up and hugs her. They are seen walking through Sky City together before stopping into this bar called Andy's. They had a few drinks before heading to a Mexican cafe, then they head to the Blue Stone Room for dinner. At dinner, they kiss a few times and look like they're having a good date. At one point, Jesse heads to the bathroom after kissing Grace on the head. While she's alone, Grace texts a friend in England saying how great the chemistry between her and Jesse was and how they really clicked. Then when Jesse gets back, Grace heads to the bathroom, leaving her purse behind. You can see Jesse going through the purse, then putting it back. The two are seen leaving the restaurant with their arms around each other and heading to the City Life Hotel. They get in the elevator together and head into Jesse's third-floor room. So the next day, December 2nd, is Grace's 23rd birthday, so her friends and family reached out but heard nothing back. They tried not to worry. Maybe Grace was hiking in an area without service. But by the 5th, after not being able to reach her for 3 days, Grace's parents call the police in New Zealand and report her missing. Her disappearances is covered on the news and her dad flies to New Zealand to look for her.
I'm David Millane, Grace's dad. Thank you for coming today. As you know, Grace has been missing for several days. We last had contact with her on Saturday the 1st of December, and as a family we've been extremely concerned for her welfare. Grace is a lovely, outgoing, fun-loving, family-orientated daughter. Grace has never been out of contact for this amount of time. She's usually in daily contact with either her mother, myself, her two brothers, members of the family on social media. She arrived here on the 20th of November and has been bombarding us with numerous photographs and messages of her adventures. We are all extremely upset, and it is very difficult at this time to fully describe the range of emotions we are going through.
It doesn't take police long to figure out she was last with Tinder date Jesse and bring him in for questioning.
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Holy shit.
Tell us about Grace. So I was talking to Grace on Tinder. We'd matched on Friday. I saw that we'd matched the next day on Saturday.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't initially know that she was real.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of... So have you heard of catfish?
No.
So catfishing is where someone uses your profile, uses your photos and pretends to be you and then meets, and you're a completely different person.
Right.
And it's happened to a few people I know in Australia. And it's all over the TV. So I thought, you know what, if I meet at Sky City, at least I know that there's lots of people around. So if it is someone that it's not, then I can just walk away.
How did the evening sort of come to an end?
There was a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and a thanks, no, nice meeting you. And then I said, let me know about tomorrow. And she said, okay, and then she kept walking.
Over the
Actually don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well,
Okay.
but she might also be dead. Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
He says he then went to another bar and got drunk, waking up in his apartment at 9 a.m. the next morning. Jesse volunteers his DNA and was released. So who is Jesse anyway? His full name is Jesse Shane Kempson. He's a pathological liar. He would tell people he had cancer, that his parents died. He told his landlord he was a professional softball player for the New Zealand Black Sox. He had just been signed, and that's why his rent was late. He was waiting on his check from the softball team. Of course, when the landlord contacted the Black Sox, they've never heard of him. He told people he was looking to buy a few ritzy bars to add to his restaurant franchise. He claimed he had degrees he didn't, and so on. This woman who lives with him spoke out. She said she lived in an apartment with 4 other girls when they accepted Jesse as their 5th roommate. She talked about how Jesse claimed to be a wealthy heir, looking to purchase more restaurants for his father's franchise, yet he was always late with rent. She also spoke of how one of the roommates slept with a knife under her pillow because Jesse was so scary when he was drunk. Most recently, Jesse had worked at a call center, but was fired for lying about his numbers to meet his quotas. The day he met Grace, he wrote an apology on Facebook to all the people he had hurt with his lying. Apparently, this apology was another lie. Oh, he also spawned a child with some woman, but shockingly, he didn't keep in touch with them. So cops watch CCTV footage of Jesse and Grace's date that I played earlier. They see Jesse lied. He and Grace had spent the night together. CCTV footage from the next day shows Jesse leaving the City Life Hotel at 8 a.m. As he gets in the elevator, he glances at the camera. It follows him to this store called The Warehouse. It follows him as he shops around and checks out buying a large suitcase and bringing it up to his room. About a half hour later, he left the hotel again to go to the Countdown Metro where he buys cleaning supplies and heads back to his hotel room. At 10:25, he leaves again and gets in a taxi. He goes to a car rental and rents a red car. At 4:29, he is seen going to a bar to meet another Tinder date. The woman would later say he was calm and intense. He started talking about how he had read a story about how a guy had rough sex with his girlfriend and accidentally killed her, and said, "It's crazy how a guy can make one wrong move and end up in jail the rest of his life." So the woman was creeped out and left. Later that night, Jesse is seen in another store renting this big carpet cleaner. He brings it up to this hotel room, and after about an hour returns it to the store. When he comes back up again, he brings a baggage trolley. He leaves with 2 large suitcases and a sports bag on it. So now we know how Grace left the room. He packs the suitcase into his rental car and goes back up to sleep. The next morning, he drives his rental car to a hardware store to buy a shovel. He then goes out of camera range for a couple hours. We can guess by his Google history he drove to the Waitakere Ranges Regional Park. When he's next seen on camera, he is barefoot. He grabs some more bags and goes to car cleaner, where he cleans his car and shoes. And he actually leaves the shovel at the car cleaner. Jesse is arrested and comes up with a new story.
Talking to me about 50 Shades of Grey, which is a sex fantasy movie that's out. We started having sex. At first it was just normal. It was very placid. And then she asked me if we could get into bondage. And then all I remember is falling asleep in the shower. I need to stop. I need to go.
Would you like some fresh air?
Yeah, please. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I went downstairs and I was just, I don't know, I was all over the place. I didn't believe what had happened. I was just terrified and scared. I thought that she had gone. I thought she had left. And the whole time I just kept saying, I'm sorry.
He claimed Grace accidentally died after he choked her during rough sex. Then he panicked, although he didn't look very panicked in those CCTV videos. On December 8th, police discovered Grace's body buried in a shallow grave in a forested area outside of Auckland. New Zealand was shocked by the crime. This stuff doesn't usually happen there. The Prime Minister even apologized to Grace's family.
Firstly, I cannot imagine the grief of her family and what they will be experiencing and feeling right now. And my thoughts and prayers are with her father, David, who is in the country, her mother, Gillian, who cannot be here, and her wider family, friends, and loved ones. You know, from the Kiwis I have spoken to, there is this overwhelming sense of hurt and shame that this has happened in our country, a place that prides itself on our hospitality, on our manaakitanga, especially to those who are visiting our shores. And so, on behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologise to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that. I've advised the family through the police that if there is anything we can do to assist, we are here to help with.
Jesse pled not guilty, and so he went on trial in November of 2019. He stuck to the story that it was rough sex gone wrong, and his defense was really just victim blaming, bringing up all of Grace's sexual history. The evidence against Jesse was overwhelming, though. An autopsy showed Grace had been strangled. Jesse had taken pictures of her dead body and watched adult content. He looked up how to dispose of a body and Googled Grace's name in the days after killing her. 3 other women Jesse had met on Tinder spoke out at trial, saying he brought up the idea of rough sex with them, likely where this whole defense came from. Another British tourist came forward saying she was sexually assaulted by Jesse, who she met on Tinder. In fact, it turns out Jesse had 9 convictions against him for rape, sexual assault, threatening to kill, and more. One woman who escaped an abusive relationship with Jesse feels guilty to this day.
I didn't want to bring up my past again, but I also wanted the truth to be out about who Jesse is and the pattern of behaviour and how this whole thing could have been avoided. It really could have.
In November 2019, Jesse Kempson was found guilty of Grace's murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years.
You have no reason to convict me. You're full of
Grace's family and friends were devastated by her death. Her mom and cousin started this charity called Love Grace in her honor. They accept handbags, which they fill with toiletries and little luxuries for women, which they then donate to domestic violence shelters in Essex, so I will link the charity below. Her story has been a stark reminder of the dangers that women face while traveling alone. The case of Grace Millane has sparked conversations around the world about the safety of women and the importance of being vigilant when meeting people online. It's a tragedy that has left a lasting impact on New Zealand and serves as a reminder that we must work together to keep each other safe. All right, thanks for watching, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.